They have really been prioritizing scaling for the TSM side, looking to go towards 5v5, looking toward late game. Ryze would be really interesting. So they're actually going to blind their mid laner here, which does kind of take away some of their advantage on red side. But I guess they're really thinking that this was actually going to be grabbed up by Diplex. And if you're concerned that Ryze was going to be taken away before you had a chance to grab it, then line picking it may be okay. Galio has been kind of that standard answer in pro play that we're seeing get banned when people want to play it, and also has come through a few times. So Galio for Diplex would make a lot of sense here. And also opens up for Blaber to play a carry-style jungler, which I just think really suits Cloud9's playstyle. So if he wanted to go towards something aggressive, he definitely can do that. We got to see Kindred come out and have a really good game for Kemby last week, and you can look that sort of direction, but you can also just go for a hard engage. Nocturne would be a solid pairing. Carry style, dive the back line.
Now that's fun. The torpedo from Nocturne, the over-the-top mortar from Galio, long-range artillery coming in here from C9 with the jungle and mid lane positions, and TSM are going to use their last pick to grab Gnar for solo.
Yeah, really interesting for TSM. It feels, I mean, they have some scaling, but it does feel, you know, like it's going to be a difficult comp to execute here. You know, Jax, I think, is going to outscale in the side lanes. There's really heavy hard engage here on that Cloud9 side. They have incredible scaling from the bot lane. After C9 laws, blame jungle, GG go next year, or let Blaber care.
I got a lot of respect for some of these signs, man.
That was a
some
good
of these
sign.
Get hella creative. I see you out there. Good job. Good job.
We got a proposal for Fudge as well in the crowd. Oh, man. But yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I do really like the draft from Cloud9. I do think that TSM gave up some of their advantage on red side without really getting kind of strong solo lane counter picks. That's generally what you are looking for here. Yes, they did get the answer of Gnar here on 5, but they blinded their mid for that, you know, for really pushing the pace in that lane. That hasn't really been Solo's playstyle. We'll see what he can get done. You definitely do want to take advantage of the fact that you are playing range versus melee here up in that top lane to try to create some sort of a pressure advantage. Fudge is going to be playing Grasp and, you know, can look to trade somewhat aggressively into the mini Gnar. You just have such low base stats in that mini Gnar that even just a leap strike in, get that Grasp proc off, you can kind of continually look for these trading patterns. Yeah, and it's up to the Gnar to really get something done on the way out. So he's just going to level leap strike, or excuse me, counter strike there as he walks into the brush, just in case Solo wanted to scuffle with him.
Exactly. And yeah, it's kind of the conversation about Grasp versus something like Conqueror or one of the other Yellow Tree keystones is just the fact that Grasp is going to be better for lane. It'll fall off later. But hey, if your main focus is just surviving lane and you already know you win later, like Jax versus Gnar, then why not get past the hard part of the game more easily?
And in this kind of matchup anyway, it's not like you can really stack up Conqueror, right? Yeah. You're not going to be hitting that Gnar very often, right? So you're going to be able to just prep up the Grasp and then look to hop in, proc that Grasp, have these quick little trades. That's more what Jax is looking for.
Oh, Diplex. Justice Punch onto Maple there. Oh. Blaber and Fudge. Okay, C9's going for a very aggressive invade against TSM here. Blaber is in the pit. Oh, there's the smite onto the chicken. I didn't see which one of those smites actually got it. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was actually Blaber that got it, but it was split amongst a few different people. So one of the mini Raptors there got taken by Bugi, it looked like. So not actually going to hit level 2, you know, on either side. So they are just going to retreat back. A nice little aggressive start, though. It does work out at the end of the day here, I think, a bit for Cloud9. You know, trying to take away those Raptors and really push pressure onto their opponents. We did see Fudge last week, I think it was, with the Fiora level 1 invade. It was against Contracts, you know, being able to push him off. Of course, this is a much smaller win, but still like that they're utilizing level 1s when they feel that they have the advantage to just really get in there and play in the face of their opponents.
And Fudge tweeted this out earlier today. He spilled coffee on his game jersey for the first time ever, so he thinks it might be a bit of a bad omen. Maybe that's why they weren't able to get the entirety of the chicken camp here at level 1, not be able to completely shut the jungler down like in the Contracts game you were talking about. Zven is at 150 HP here in bottom lane, trading aggressively with the Lucian and Nami, shoving him in early alongside Berserker, and you can see Cloud9 actually has control in both of these side lanes. It's the Jax pushing up, it's the Zeri pushing up, and that just means Bugi is down here in bottom side. He'll be able to walk forward a little bit, see if he can come around from behind and get an angle on these guys.
Yeah, he is wrapping around behind. Of course, he doesn't actually have the Arctic Assault right now, but they're just going to go in for it anyway. They're looking for Zven, who's already very low.
Heal comes out, Zven's at 300. Bugi's still looking to get him here at the second part of the W. Flash forced out from Zven to make sure he escapes the gank.
Yeah, good flash there from Zven. And that Q early cooldown is so long here So, you know, he comes in, there was no Q to actually follow it up. It's almost a 17-second cooldown at rank 1 on that Sejuani. So when you use it to get behind him, you're not going to have that coming back up unless you really wait a long time, which does have some inherent risk itself. But that's both summoners off of Zven, which is great because that's a possibility of a rinse and repeat gank. It's a possibility of a roam coming down there from Maple where you could maybe get an easy kill onto Zven.
And that's something that determines whether or not this was a good play, right? If you don't make it back down there in the next 5 minutes and capitalize on punishing the flash, well, we didn't get a whole lot. But if you do, awesome. Now we're snowballing, now we're moving forward. And again, that's what I'm watching TSM most closely for this game. How well do they deal with the early? How well can they stop the Cloud9 war machine from coming online?
Absolutely, and especially when you're playing against someone like Nocturne, who's going to be power farming, right? He already had the level 1 invade on the Raptors. They're looking for the rinse and repeat on that Raptor spawn. Boogie has not been spotted. Fudge is coming here, but can they actually do anything about this? Blaber has Smite, and Boogie does not, so this should just be Blaber's, and he's already a couple camps ahead.
Yeah.
Sejuani's going to lose this. We'll see if they can get anything done on Fudge. Does Fudge have a ward to actually leap strike over?
Fudge may be in a little bit of trouble here, but immediately using the counter-strike, but now he's got none of those resources left. That should be first blood, easy peasy. Fudge goes over the wall, but he gets chased, and he's in the middle of TSM territory. It is first blood to TSM.
So nice little invade there from Blaber, but great patience from Boogie, realizing he can't actually contest because he doesn't have the smite, so don't mess with the Raptors. Just lay a trap for Fudge, who you're expecting to come down to try to cover that invade. He does just that. It does cost him the flash out Boogie, but Solo gets first blood and doesn't have to spend a summoner. So this is amazing. You know, he's just camping out in that brush. No one checks it from that Cloud9 side. They saw that Fudge was actually, in the area as he walked by. And so Gnar just comes down and they collapse on him from two sides. Fudge would have had to instant flash the wall to really have a chance, but I think he wasn't sure. Like, can we fight this? I have counter-strike, maybe I can set something up. But then Maple is faster on the roam as well, so there wasn't really an angle for Cloud9. Something I neglected to mention, though, is they did at least force the flash off Maple, so it is that 2 flashes on TSM side for the 1 flash and the death, of course, on Fudge's. But going to be a lot of XP here that has been earned by Blaber. You know, he is power farming, and you can see already a good 4 camps ahead.
Exactly, and Boogie's flash and Maple's flash are still going to be down by the time Blaber and Diplex are both level 6. So TSM has to be aware of that. If they get in a fight with anybody else, these two can come flying over and instantly turn the tables. Now TSM has to retreat from this bottom lane scuffle here as Blaber shows up. 42-25 farm in the jungle department means that lead that you're talking about for Blaber is a very real deal, and especially with lethal tempo Nocturne being such a good duelist just foundationally, Sejuani's never really going to be able to contest him in open ground for any of these games.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what build he wants to go, if he's going to go towards, more aggressive mythics, or if he wants to go the kind of stride breaker pseudo-tank build, which can be really powerful for dueling. Do have a lot of options. Also really like how C9 is actually positioning, in this bot lane. We saw when that gank came in, Zven is playing towards that bottom side of the lane to make sure that if they're going to come in for the gank, he knows he's susceptible with those summoners, so they have to fight through Berserker. And Berserker is sitting there shooting you the whole time you're trying to walk towards him. If you hard commit to him, he can blow a summoner and survive. And if you try to walk past him, it's not really going to work to get in towards Zven. So intelligent positioning, we want to see them actually check that brush and find that pink ward, which has been there for a while, and they will be able to do that now.
All right, clear that one out. Make sure that they don't have vision there. Open up a little pathway for a potential lane gank. Nocturne very good at those as well once he hits level 6, but still counting towards that mark here for C9, while Bugi on TSM just now hits level 5. So Nocturne, you can see Blaber's about 2/3 to 3/4 of a level ahead of his jungle opponent there in terms of EXP. Solo level 6, just about to run out of Mega Gnar here. And Blaber's going to just throw out a Dustbringer, allow Fudge a little bit of extra help shoving this wave up.
Yeah, exactly. You can see Fudge already used his ultimate. Solo still had his ultimate. They didn't know where Boogie is, so he just wants to be there to try to make sure that he has that coverage to be okay, to try to reset this wave, to get this farm. You're just kind of showing, hey, you better be careful. I could be here. And now Boogie will show on this ward, but of course that was one that was dropped, I believe, by Blaber. So, keeping Fudge safe up in that top lane, but trying not to spend a lot of time, on this coverage. He doesn't want to just sit behind him in that lane and share XP. He wants to continue power farming. And now he's already up to 6. Berserker getting really aggressive, though.
Yeah, Berserker is ready to go. As soon as he hits level 6, he's in their face, ready to 2v2. But now with that ultimate already used, C9 knows trouble could be on the way. Maple shows up. Rune Prison on Zven. Goodbye, good night, and money in Neo's pocket.
Oh, man, that was actually great timing from Maple. Zven, I believe his flash came up literally while he was in room prison. I don't think he had it right at the beginning of it. There was a tiny sliver of cooldown remaining on it, so perfect timing. Getting the regank, you know, they'd already tried it once, didn't work with Sejuani. They roamed down from Maple here, and they are able to pick up that kill. So making good on that earlier forced flash that Bugi had. Like the pressure that TSM has been putting on. And this is something that I think, you know, Bugi has done well. You know, we saw this even in games where it didn't necessarily pay off in a lot of kills. He was really aggressive at attacking missing summoners. You know, when he saw someone who is in a vulnerable position, he's going to go right at them. And he's going to continue to try to tax those resources and punish them for being missing. Bugi may just try to walk in and smite this because Blaber never checked the brush.
There's no smite for Blaber either. That's everybody that's ever jungled's had that happen to him at least once. That sucks, man. That's the worst feeling.
Especially when it's a duel that you could win, and you know maybe if I just check that brush, he wouldn't be able to do it.
I can just scare him away, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Blaber, sometimes it's just those little things, those little corners that you cut that come back to bite you. TSM will be happy stealing away the red buff, and because Bugi had 2 charges of the smite, it's not going to stop them from taking the Drake either. So really nice early game coming out in the first 9.5 minutes here for TSM.
I mean, credit for TSM. Yeah, they've really withstood this pressure from Cloud9 very, very well. Cloud9 clearly came in with a game plan to try to tax them early. You know, starting with that level 1 invade on Raptors, you know, starting with these things that we're going to try to throw them off guard. The repeat invade on the Raptors was clearly the game plan here. And it's actually TSM that has been able to get more from that. You know, Bugi realizing his Raptors were gone, laying a trap, getting first blood on Fudge, then gets down towards bot lane, forces a flash. It's the roam from Maple that makes good on that, but he has been the catalyst for both of the kills that they have, and he's really not that far behind in farm at this point either.
Cloud9 are still trying to apply that pressure, though. You could see there as they were moving a couple players up towards the enemy blue buff. No, they weren't able to steal it away from Bugi, but they made him secure it instead of passing it off to Maple. We know how much Ryze loves to spam spells with the blue buff, so at least taking away a little bit of that pressure the TSM mid laner would otherwise be able to exert. And C9, again, just trying to control all of these camps, control all of the farm. We have Galio and Nocturne ultis available. Both of these champions are now well past level 6, and we have not seen them deployed yet.
Yeah, not just yet. And because there is Shelly waiting to be used here on Blaber, if he can actually execute on a kill, especially, you know, up in top lane, if you can find that Gnar and Mini, get some sort of a dive or a kill there, then drop the Herald, that can turn into a massive gold swing. So that's something TSM is going to have to be really, really wary of. And I think that's why Solo was playing so respectfully. When Fudge was actually pushing up this wave, he just wasn't even messing with it. He actually just went back towards the Krugs, is healing up off of that, and just waiting for the wave to crash before he actually approached to farm it. Because unless they have eyes on Nocturne, they've got to be very, very careful. And when you take a look at the map, there's no forward vision yet from TSM, right? It's just those couple wards down on the bottom side river, and we can see Maple threatening that move once again here. They want to keep this river clear of Cloud9 vision, because if you can keep those wards out of that river, anytime Maple steps out of vision towards the bottom side, they've got to respect the potential of a Realm Warp move. And that little bit of pressure, you know, you push in this wave, you step down towards that bottom side river, it's going to mean Berserker and Zven have got to pay respect to that every single time they're down in bot lane.
496 was the gold lead for TSM when I started that sentence. And honestly, considering what you were talking about with their gold difference at 15 averaging negative 3,500, plus 500 a couple minutes before that, feels like a much better early game compared to expectations for the side of TSM. Blaber is looking here around this top side. The Eye of the Herald's going to run out. There's not a whole lot of time left to decide what, where, and when you want to do it. So Blaber's just going to go ahead, summon it up right there. If that's not already in charge range, Shelly's going to have to scuffle forward like 3 feet, and then she will be in charge range. Looks like, okay, already we're ready to go. Kaboom! They're going to get the 2 plates and walk away with that one. Unfortunately, looks like it's only about the 1 plate just because the Herald's reduced damage earlier on now. But not a whole lot to be gained from it. Honestly, not a whole lot of these Cloud9 early moves have resulted in much of anything.
Yeah, you have to give credit to TSM. They're kind of withstanding that pressure very, very well. They're playing around the fact that Nocturne has ulti, not exposing themselves to any early moves. And every single time there's a crashing wave that could be dangerous, notice that Bugi's actually been matching the pathing of Blaber. He's been moving up towards top side. He's been timing the camps that he's farming really, really intelligently. He's not just like mindlessly full clearing. He's up towards top side. He's at those Krugs any single time that Solo could be in danger, because they knew with Herald there and Nocturne ult available, it was likely that he would be that target. We do see the first item, though, coming through for Blaber, so he did go towards Stridebreaker. This is my preferred Nocturne build. You can go full glass in, but
it's so good.
Yeah, like the damage is still really high, and just having that slow often guarantees, you know, plus you have the speed up from your Q, you get that slow from the Stridebreaker, almost always will guarantee that you're going to be able to land that fear unless they have some sort of a flash or something to immediately react to it, and that allows you to stack lethal tempo during that fear. You're going to win out in these duels really, really often.
Hard CC or even soft CC that guarantees it is just damage written in a different language, right? You're getting damage eventually, just not a direct plus X to AD. So I like this item a lot. I think it just perfectly synergizes with the Champions kit. Happy to see Blaber building that. Over on the other side, Rod of Ages completed here around 13 minutes for Maple, so around 23 minutes or so, you're going to see that completion power spike with a +1 level. And if I'm Cloud9, I'm looking to try to make something happen before that. Try to get something rocking and rolling here as Bugi is down in the bottom lane with the wave ready to crash. Looks like they're not going to go for a dive here. They don't want to risk giving away the lead that they've earned so far.
It's interesting because there's a couple of schools of thought on how Cloud9 should be playing this out, right? You know, they do have their tools to get aggressive here. You look at Blaber, you look at Diplex, you're saying, well, you've been 6 for a while. You know, I would like to see you use your ult. But at the same time, I think Cloud9 may be looking at it through the lens of, all right, well, if we're just chilling and farming, I'd much rather have Zeri Lulu, and I'd much rather have the Jax, right? So you do have these win conditions that can kind of play towards scaling, but that being said, you know, TSM is going to be hitting these really strong points of the game where if they can continue stacking these dragons, it may force Cloud9 to come to them a little bit earlier than they're ready to do.
TSM is ready to go for their second Drake of the game. They already got that first one earlier after Bugi stole the red buff away from Blaber, and now it looks like they've got control over the pit here for the second as well. Blaber on the other side of the map deciding, okay, we're not going to contest this. We're not going to worry about that right now. Too much of a risk, not enough of a reward. Just go for the second Herald.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Berserker doesn't even have his mythic completed. He did go for tier 2 boots rush, which is pretty standard on Zeri. Whereas on the other side, you know, Neo playing free boots, he's got that Gale Force done. So not really looking to scuffle just yet. Going to be happy to kind of just sit back, move this up towards top side. They're going to go in now on a solo, who should be fine, but at the very least, this is going to be a tower. And I think that's just kind of being used to put that pressure down. They move up here with Zven. They drop the Herald. There's no plates. So they're going to try to play for first turret. And we'll see if Diplex can actually keep that bottom turret safe, but it doesn't look like it. So TSM are going to win out on that as well.
TSM feeling good still. 15.5 minutes into the game, TSM has very similar to the Cloud9 expected gold advantage at 15.
Yeah.
Really nice stuff from them here in this first part of the game.
Yeah, doing a really good job. Blaber, at the very least, did hold on to the Herald, so they saw they were going to lose that race anyway, so he holds on to the Herald. He can use that potentially towards bot or towards mid to try to get something a little bit more with it. They weren't going to be safe to actually try to siege the tier 2 top or anything like that, so does just make the call to hold on.
Uh-oh. It fights.
We're good.
All
Issue
right,
is resolved. We're going back in.
Let's rock and roll.
Thankfully, I didn't jinx it too much.
Yes, we're in there.
Quick one.
I'm proud of you, Isaac.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're back in. Both Rod of Ages currently online. We've got a stopwatch for Diplex's Galio, ready for whenever Cloud9 wants to decide to go after some sort of a play. The tier is fully charged for Maple, so as soon as he builds that into the upgrade, it will immediately become the Seraphs.
Yep, but that is a really big spike. A lot of champions, you talk about powerful items, that item is so strong now. When you're looking towards champions like Ryze and Cassio, it can actually be so difficult to burst them down now. Just so much bonus health with Aurora, and that shield proc as well on the Seraphs can make you really, really difficult to burst down. But TSM here grouping up mid, 4 members mid here. Nocturne is there to cover, so C9 should be able to wave clear, but TSM threatening.
TSM tried to shove this one down, but C9 bringing in enough manpower to only give them about a quarter of the turret's health. So TSM will have to back away from that one now. It'll be Neo and Chime versus Berserker and Zven here in the mid lane. Duos squaring off over these waves. As you can see, top laners still up there. Fudge still pressuring solo underneath that tier 1 turret.
And it's kind of about this push and pull, right? Ryze now has the push here. We saw that Jax had the push top, so Gnar had to move up from mid, answer top, and now Galio has to move down and actually answer this pushing wave. So it's about which solo laner can really force the response, because now that Diplex has actually gone down towards bot, look at what Ryze is going to do. Ryze is going to move towards mid and give TSM pressure, give them threat around that mid lane. It's this push and pull back and forth because the teams don't really have vision established enough. Like, Ryze can't just push towards that tier 2 tower because Nocturne's going to ult you and kill you, right? So he just gets the shove and then comes down. They do have to pay respect, though, that Nocturne could be in the area, and you see some pings on the minimap coming out. C9 has good deep vision up top to actually cover for the split push, but down bottom, they've got really nothing here, and that is why Zven and Berserker are moving away from mid lane down to help cover Blaber, knowing that a trap could potentially be laid, so they're just playing right behind him, allowing him to clear out some of these wards and reestablish control in their own jungle.
Blaber also getting pretty close here to level 11. Big upgrade for Nocturne. That level 1 paranoia. Yeah, it feels good to have it, but the range is honestly pretty short. Once it hits level 11, you really start to feel like you can find those holy hell, he just came out of nowhere moments on Nocturne.
Yeah, it goes from 2,500 to 3,250, and then another 750 added on for rank 16, or level 16, I should say. So definitely does increase massively in range there, especially when you are looking for those types of lane ganks and hovering, in those side lanes, which I do think we're going to see Blaber playing towards. He's also got to make sure he gets that Herald down, because that is going to expire very, very quickly. I think he's actually going to have to drop it in base, or at least walk out a little bit and then drop it, because that is about to expire. You definitely don't want to see that happen.
I mean, Cloud9 made the choice to trade the first 2 Drakes for the first 2 Heralds, and the first Herald got one plate, and this second Herald might not get anything at all. So honestly, C9 sort of fumbling the ball here with these Herald deployments.
They're going to actually look to commit to this, though. You can see they're bringing everyone mid. They're even going to TP and Fudge, and Diplex is moving in. So Cloud9 is saying, we are getting this Herald charge. We're going to bring 5 mid, and we're going to use this pressure here to get that Herald down. Fudge threatening forward here, but it'll get the charge off.
Yeah, they'll get the charge, but they won't get anything else. So between 2 Heralds, Cloud9 got 2 separate half health bars on tier 1 turrets and 1 plate.
Yeah, well, at the very least, they did eventually kill that top lane tower, so they were able to take that down. But this one cost them the TP. Solo now, though, has that TP advantage, so that is on the side of TSM. And you can see nice chunk from Neo. Berserker's got to go back to base unless he can heal up off this. Oh, they're going to go in!
They're just wanting to fight instead. It's Blaber immediately entering, but TSM's able to disengage from the Galio ulti, but now coming in looking for the taunt on a multiple targets. They grab 3! Chime's already down, and Bugi's going to be forced to flash back over the wall. Neo runs, and Solo's now the target. But here comes the Fudge Copter, and C9 tears a hole through TSM, but Maple's ready to fight back. He tries to get the damage onto Berserker, but it won't be found. Berserker's got the shutdown, and C9 gets 3 for 1.
C9 come to life, biding their time. They find the opportunity here to go in the mid lane. Neo had chunked out Berserker, but he spent a lot of his resources to do it. And they say, we can just engage. There's so much CC that is there. Blaber gets in the middle of everyone, hits a wall with a Strikebreaker slow. Galio ult's coming in. Everyone has to flee. And then in the midst of that, Fudge is on top of your team, pumping out the damage. And Cloud9 able to come out on top big time in that, but they weren't able to take the dragon off the back of it. So TSM, still potential to fight for this. We'll see if they're going to be able to get it on the map fast enough, though, because Maple does not have his TP. So if Cloud9 want to go for it, it's got to be now.
That might be a big catch. They force flash out of Zven, but now the taunt, the chain CC back down to Bugi. Solo with a big man, multi-hit Mega Gnar ulti on to 3, but it won't matter. C9's already found the first kill, and they're going in for the second. Fudge locks them down. Berserker blows them up. Now they're going to switch their attention back over to the top laner yet again. It's pentakill, but Fudge has already died. Berserker got a quadra. Maple's the last man standing. C9.
They want it. They want it.
Little help. Maple's going to try to fight all 4. Blaber goes in with the spell shield. He's able to find the fear. Diplex coming in for the taunt. Laser over the wall. Berserker firing. Pentakill for the Cloud9 AD carry.
The whole team comes together. One mission to get Berserker that penta. And it is mission accomplished for Cloud9 here. They get the penta, they get the dragon, and congratulations to Blaber, one of the best junglers in LCS all time, has just reached 1,800 all-time LCS assists.
What a play to get it off of. Run it back. Let's see it again.
Yeah, this was pretty amazing here. Great bubble onto Zven, and they think, hey, we can actually take down this Lulu, but Zven has the flash. He flashes out of there, and the CC stack is so massive. Taunt, knockup, polymorph, fear, everything landing onto Bugi here, and despite how tanky he is, it finds the time for Berserker to get going. Berserker has that lethal tempo stacked up. He is just going nuts in this fight. Then Fudge goes forward. Look at the health bars that Cloud9 are working with. Such a good job just balancing this kind of nice edge in this fight where so many of them are so low. They wait for the cooldowns, and then they say, we can do it again. The ulti comes up there for Zven. Polymorph into the fear, into the taunts, everything landing here, and then Cloud9 backs up. They say, Berserker, you deserve it. Take the penta, buddy.
What a reaction, wow. Stone Cold Killer, man. Oh, baby. Now, that's not a Zeri damage graph. I don't know what is. 5,300 coming out of the C9 marksman after the pentakill performance. A 20-minute pentakill is hard to do.
Yeah, no kidding. But look at the damage difference between the junglers. There's 200 damage for the Sejuani, 3,200 for the Nocturne. So Blaber was getting some work done. I mean, you ignore that guy in the midst of the team fight, he is going to get some work done, man. He's got that lethal tempo stacked, and he was slapping him up.
Well, I mean, Bugi was also the initial target who died instantaneously in the CC chain you were talking about, right? So, unfortunately for him, despite the fact that he is tanky, he's not tanky enough to survive that much CC. Solo may be looking for a dive angle here, but C9 clears the wave for now. Fudge is back in the side lane, has his Frozen Heart completed, a second full item.
Yeah, and the Anathema's Chains was the second item there for Blaber, and he has it strapped up on the Neo. So reducing the tenacity on this guy, and they have so much CC, so it's really, really annoying. That is kind of one of the big key components. People think about the damage reduction, but the CC is so important. If Neo doesn't have Cleanse, he's just basically not going to be able to ever move in these fights. Between Counter-Strike, Polymorph, Taunt, Galio, Knockup, Nocturne Fear, there's so many different ways that they can actually lock you down. And that was really, really impressive team fighting from Cloud9. And that's one of those ones that you want to see people go back and watch and do those kind of team fight breakdown style plays on. Yeah. Because Cloud9 really navigated it so well, where there's so many moments people are at 10%, 20% HP. They're still re-engaging back into the fight and surviving with very, very low health. You know, playing that nice edge just incredibly well.
And those are the moments that can also give you the biggest wins. I mean, Jat was talking about it in the Analyst Lounge before the game started today with the Cloud9 versus FlyQuest match this past weekend, talking about how FlyQuest were the ones doing the same thing to Cloud9, just getting those knife's edge plays that can end up giving you some of the biggest advantages. I mean, TSM was up 1,000 gold before those past two fights before the Drake, and then after those both settled, it's now swung 2,500 gold the other way.
And that's one of the really difficult things when you fight against these incredible team fighting teams. When you think back to Summer Split last year, the team that was dominating was actually EG, right? And it was so much about their 5v5. They just always kind of had this magic that it felt like it didn't matter where the state of the game was. If you got into a 5v5 against EG, they could take you down. And some of our top teams showing that again is we're going to see Zven die.
Come on, man. Come on.
He was in the river with multiple people, but he did go off a little bit of solo mission there. You gotta be careful. Gotta stay together. It's the buddy system.
I'm gonna call that one a bit of an oof. Not exactly.
As is your right.
The best recall.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of those greedy recalls back from his AD carry days. His AD carry brain took over instead of a support brain.
I mean, Yordles kind of look like kindergartners, so maybe you need that rope system, you know, where like all little kids across the street are all
like
tied
one
together.
of those crazy parents in a Walmart puts
with
a kid on like a harness.
With a backpack harness. That's what Blaber needs for Zven.
There you go. Just keep him
Tie
close.
him up.
Make sure he's ready to give you the wild growth when you jump in. Easy money. But we do have 40 seconds before our next Drake spawns. It was C9 stopping TSM's Drake stacking with the previous one. Does TSM even want to fight for this? I mean, the last fight in open ground didn't go so great.
It's tough. I mean, I think that they kind of have to. I don't think you can just sit back and do nothing, but the scary part is Berserker just hit his third item, right? He has the Navori Quick Blades now, so that's a massive spike for him. That may dissuade them from doing it, but I think just giving infinite time to Jax to scale and split push in the side lane is not going to be the play. It's so hard for TSM to play side lanes against Nocturne and Jax, so they're going to look for something here, getting some good damage down on Blaber.
Yeah, Blaber loses half before the fight ever really even starts. Now you got Fudge going in, back up from Diplex. Blaber charges into the back lines, he finds Chime, surely he's going to die here. Fudge is huge, and he keeps pushing forward. A shutdown back of a Berserker, a kill back on a Maple, and another on Solo. Bugi runs away, but Fudge is still ready. A double kill back over to Berserker.
Cloud9, no hesitation, diving into the back line there, and you said it. Blaber surely is gonna die, but he survives as Diplex is able to push out Neo, and he's able to buy the time with the stopwatch there. Super high value stopwatch as Cloud9, no fear on pulling the trigger on these plays. They just get right in there. Some damage was committed in onto Blaber, and you're thinking, oh, maybe Cloud9's gonna be hesitant around this play, but Fudge just finds an angle. He gets back into that back line, gives Diplex a way in, and then Blaber's ready to follow up. Berserker and Zven are always ready to follow up. So they're gonna get the Dragon, they're gonna get the Baron, and this game is massively in the favor of Cloud9 now, really looking like one of the best team fighting teams in the league.
I liked how they split it at the end for the Drake and the Baron too to get both. Let's take another look at how this started.
Yeah, look at them. They're just trying to go inoffensively onto Fudge, and Fudge says, all right, I'm just going to turn around. He just jumps past the front line onto the back line. 3-man counter-strike. In comes Diplex. Blaber dives into the back line, flashes forward, finishes off 1 kill, goes into the stopwatch, and then his spell shield has come back up so he can go back in on solo, absorb of that boulder toss or stun or anything that's going to come right at him, survives that easily. And again, it's just Berserker untouched. They're not even forcing summoners off this guy because Cloud9's front line is just buying so much space for him.
Well, TSM try to find a collapse on the Diplex here. However, his Zhonya's is enough to make it so that attempt is going to result in a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, I actually really like the ult there from Blaber. Even though he doesn't take it in, it creates that chaos for TSM. Now, all of a sudden, TSM aren't sure, are we getting flanked by Fudge? Is someone coming in from a different angle? We need to back it up. So they do commit that. But they are going to be pushing multiple waves here, pushing through mid and bot. Diplex has to be a bit careful, though. He's getting really low.
Yeah, he's got no Zhonya's left. C9 looking to approach from the other side now as Fudge finds the counter-strike onto Neo, ready to go after him. It'll be a 1-for-1 trade here at the start. Blaber still in the front lines. Solo jumping back away. C9 still looking and ready to fight here with Blaber, but now he's running the counter-strike for Fudge. He's gone, or is he? Yes, he will be. Maple takes him out. TSM's able to disengage, getting another Berserker! Berserker's under the turret. He pops the cleanse. He won't be able to find the kills. He still wants it so badly. He flashes forward. He goes after Solo. He finds one on Bugi. He looks for a little bit more. He's trying to shoot. Maple, he goes over the wall into the enemy base. What is this man doing? Holy cow!
Berserker has never seen a fight he doesn't like. My man is diving past the tier 2, past the inhibitor towers there, straight into the base, trying to find the kill. As this one got a little bit crazy, a little bit disjointed there from Cloud9. It looked like Berserker was just thinking he was going to head back down towards bot and actually look to push in that wave. Fudge was looking for the fight, so he's going in on the re-engage, and that's where things get a little bit crazy. You know, this is earlier on. Look at the bottom side of your screen here. Bugi is doing a really good job of actually zoning out Berserker. Berserker is not really a part of this fight for a very long time. You watch him on the bottom side of your screen, and as Fudge is going forward here with Blaber, you know, they're starting to get really, really aggressive. Now look at the mini-map. You know, you can see it's right before here. Berserker starts head towards bot, right here. He was heading towards that bot side, looking to farm. Then when they fully committed, he goes straight back in. So a little bit disjointed, but Berserker is so fed. He finds the opportunity here. He has the QSS available. He has the barrier. He has the flash. So he says, you know what? We can make it happen here. Flashes in, tries to take out Solo. Can't quite do it. You know, Bugi does use that Q flash to keep his top laner alive. So a great turn there from Bugi. And it's a 1K shutdown onto Maple. He knows he went a little bit far on that one.
It's like, all right, that one was a little aggressive.
Like, okay, my bad.
It's all right. It's all right. For C9, they're still up about 2,500 gold. Less than 2 minutes before the Drake spawns. About a minute after that, Baron's going to be up and ready to go again. 1,000 gold shut down, critically finding its way onto Maple's Ryze. I feel like this is really the TSM win condition at this point.
I mean, he almost has his death cap off of that. That would be his 4th item. And when he hits that death cap, you start to get some sweaty palms a little bit when you were playing against that Ryze. You know, Cloud9 has a lot of members that are grouped up in these fights. If Ryze can free fire and start splashing across, you know, multiple members here on the C9 side, there is that potential for him to shred him. You know, he's already got his Void Staff. He's fully stacked on the Seraph, fully stacked on the Roa. And when he hits death cap, that is a very, very strong mid laner. So that is the question. You know, can they create that space for Maple to really get work done? Because there's so much pressure, so much CC that is going to be flying at him. We know Berserker is going to get space. It's not a guarantee that Maple does.
Yeah, Berserker having all but one item completed, sitting on 80% crit chance here with the Navori Quick Blades too. Very, very scary stuff for the DPS potential.
And look at this. He has his QSS fully upgraded, so he's got the Merc Scimitar, and there's a Mikhail's. So there's double CC cleanse on him. So it's not even like you can really look for that. Bugi now maybe overextended.
Blaber flashing after Neo to make sure he keeps him locked down. With Fudge's follow-up through the TP, Neo's gonna have a hard time getting away, and he cannot escape. Sejuani ulti Not going to get a whole lot there as TSM loses their AD carry. 20 seconds left before the Drake. Neo will be back alive in time to fight for the Baron, but you would think this Drake 100% goes the way of C9.
Yeah, Neo just too far up there, unfortunately, and you can see Blaber just no hesitation goes straight in on him, hits him with a Stridebreaker slow, and just the flash follow on that fear tether. Unless you're already at max range, when you flash, he can flash follow, still get that fear down. Sure, you have the cleanse, but you're slowed up. You know, allows that time for C9 to catch up to you. Blaber now going to be over on that dragon, just soloing it up while his team takes down this tower. There's not really any threat because they know TSM was showing up on top side. That is the death cap, though, completed for Maple, so that's very, very big for them. But of course, this is 3 straight Mountain Drakes now for Cloud9. Back-to-back-to-back dragons. The flat resistances are not going to be insignificant here.
And not just the death cap being completed, but filling the 6th item slot with the stopwatch could be huge here for Maple, being able to survive. Like you said, the issue is free firing time. If he does find himself under that suffocating pressure, this is a chance to get an air bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. Could give him that window, but it's going to be scary. I mean, he's not even playing Merc Treads, right? He's not into actually Resolve Tree, so he doesn't really have any tenacity whatsoever. There's nothing from his runes. There's nothing from his itemization. So if you do misposition at all and you get CC'd, you're never going to get to play your character. There's just so much chain CC that can come through from Cloud9. So, you know, Maple really has got to walk that line where he's not too far forward that he's going to get CC'd out, but he's far enough forward that he can really get the damage done and punish them. And TSM now trying to threaten around that Baron, but C9 doing a good job. They have their bot lane grouped up with Blaber here, pushing forward and trying to reestablish vision, but TSM wants to fight.
Man, Blaber taking a lot of damage. He has a Guardian Angel once he goes in, so he won't be dead for real, but C9 still looking to follow up a little bit more. Solo's here on the front line, Berserker putting some DPS into him. Fudge wants to re-engage here with a counter strike, and he's found the kill onto Chime. Now Bugi's your next target. Laser flies through the wall. Solo's ready to try to escape. Neo just barely walks out, but Bugi won't be able to stay the same. You got Diplex blocking him down. It's Cloud9 cleaning him up. I think the whole damn game just ended.
Cloud9 are going to finish it out. What a team fight there. Blaber doesn't even die. Deathless on the Nocturne, surviving on a sliver of health there. Zven just runs it down into the well. Cloud9, 34 in, 20 to 8. They take down TSM. A great start to this 3rd week for them.
What a team fighting squad, man. Honestly, again, I want to give props to TSM for the first 15 minutes of the game they played. It was much better than what I was expecting. But you give Cloud9 one team fight, one chance without a massive lead ahead of them, and they'll be willing to take that skill check.
Absolutely, and congratulations to Zven. 200th career LCS win here. Quite the accomplishment for the support king. Playing well today on the Lulu. It's got to be a frustrating one for TSM, though. There were so many fights where Cloud9 members have almost no health, and they just can't quite finish them off. You know, the Lulu shield comes in, or someone steps forward and actually peels for or body blocks for those other members. You know, both the culling as well as the Ryze Qs are directional and can be blocked, right? Can be body blocked up. And we saw Cloud9 managing that really, really well in a lot of the team fights, just kind of stifle TSM from being able to actually finish off those kills. But as you said, you know, it was a strong early game from TSM at the very least, something that they can look to build upon.
Right. I think that's the thing that you take away as the positive, and then you just really look back at the team fights in these VOD reviews, figure out what went wrong, figure out why, figure out how you can fix that for the next time, because they're not on the same team fighting level that a